Yeah, alright. So, I wanted to touch on this, boys. I wanted to go over this. My brother told me about this in the car, right as I'm pulling into the lot. He goes, did you hear about the Pokemon stuff? I said, what Pokemon stuff? And this is what he was talking about. He said, he said apparently there was some leaks from GameFreak where, as far as a couple people, including Ruby, you know, helped me confirm a little bit. I don't know how accurate this is, but essentially this is lore that wasn't meant to actually serve as lore. Thank you. But it was meant to rather, you know, serve as, I guess, a foundation of thought for the developers and for the story and lore crafters. And a lot of this is really weird, you know, it's strange, you know, a lot of it kind of rides, I guess, like, a lot of Greek or a lot of Japanese mythology, right? Like, a lot of the old, I guess, Japanese, like, mythical lore, sure, whatever you want to call it. But what's particularly interesting to me is the one down here where they talk about, and there's a whole Reddit thread right here where they talk about it, and I can send this if you guys want it. Yeah, I'll send this over for you. Okay, I can't send it over on YouTube because it's a character limit, whatever it is. But anyway, so this one pretty much talks about how Typhlosion, which most people know who Typhlosion is, wow, look at that. That's this Pokemon, right? He's in Heart Gold or Gold and Soul Silver and Silver, right? I like this Pokemon a lot. I think he's cool, right? He's a cool Pokemon. He's a flat fire type. That's all he does. He does a lot of damage. If I'm not mistaken, he's big into his attack. I don't remember. I remember back when I played, I'm pretty sure he was attack or a special attack stat Pokemon. I could be wrong. Regardless, that doesn't really matter. What matters, so the theme here, the general theme, is the relationship between humans and Pokemon and the human-like ways of thinking that humans can apparently incorporate, right? But here it is. I'm gonna go through and I guess I'll read some of this and we can get the gist, right? Because I haven't read all of it myself, right? Long ago, when the boundary between Pokemon and humans was unclear, and I'm gonna tell you that's kind of a weird way to start it, and I'll also say that's very normal, I feel like, in Japanese media, but that's besides the point, right? Alright, there was a village somewhere. One day, a girl that went into the mountains together. She went into the mountains together, firewood. She found a well-dried, deep wood, dead wood deep in the forest, so she kept going further in, right? Before she realized it, the sun was setting, and she had lost her way. Around here, there were droppings from a Typhlosion. So there was Typhlosion poop, okay? Which made the girl anxious. I don't know why, but okay. Anyway. Just then, a man appeared from the other side of the forest. His face didn't resemble anyone from the village, but he was very handsome. Yeah, that... Like, I get... Like, it's not really that weird. It's just weird given the context, right? So, the man said, you must be lost, right? I know the way down the mountain, but with your pace, it should be midnight before we get there. I'll take you back tomorrow morning, so why don't you rest at my place tonight? This is creepy, but okay. The girl had no choice but to agree to the man's suggestion. The man took her hand and began to walk. As the evening fell, they arrived at a large cave, and he said, this is my home. You must be hungry, right? Wait here, essentially, right? I will paraphrase once in a while. I'm dyslexic, okay? Sure. Thanks. Eat this, and then let's sleep for the night. Even if you wake up before I do, don't look at my face. Which, we'll have reasons for this once we get there, right? Okay, I skipped to part 2. It says, saying that the man went out of the cave after he left a red light shone from far away in the mountains. So essentially, there was a light of flames and fire, whatever it was, right? Yeah, yeah, but you gotta listen to it, brother. Okay, alright. And then it said, the next morning when the girl woke up, the man was still asleep. She honored their promise and stayed lying down, waiting. Before long, she fell back asleep. She was awakened by the man's voice. When she looked outside, the sun was already setting. Today, we'll eat green berries. Wait here. Now, I'm already going to say, like, it's kind of interesting that he starts off by saying what they're going to eat, considering they had already agreed upon the fact that he was going to, you know, take her home the very next morning, right? So anyway, with that, he went out the cave, and after he left, he came home, and, you know, some red light shone far away, and the sound of trees echoes. By the time his son came out, the man said, return carrying those green berries. He said, eat this, and let's sleep for the night. When you wake up, don't look at my face, right? We already talked about this. Sorry. And then right here, the same routine. No, here it is. The girl expressed her concern, and her family would be worried that she wanted to go home soon. The man yawned widely and tapped on her head, or on the head at the moment. She completely forgot about her family and her home. The two men ate as, okay, so the same routine continued with them waking up at the last sunset, the man going out to gather berries, and the two of them eating and sleeping together. Eventually, the girl realized that the man was a Typhlosion. This is really weird. I'm not gonna lie, man. This is weird. As winter approached, the Typhlosion dug deeper into the cave and said to the girl, go gather wood for the firewood. and break off the branches from the higher parts of tall trees. The girl tried to do as the Typhlosion instructed, but the tall trees scared her, so she could only climb the shorter ones. When she brought back some branches, the Typhlosion said, "That won't do. If it's not from the higher branches, humans will find us." When the snow began to fall, the two of them lived in the depths of the cave, mostly sleeping. There was plenty of food. Occasionally, they would wake up, eat, and then go back to sleep. One day when she awoke, the girl was holding a child. After several days and nights passed, Typhlosion said, "Your father is looking for you, but you are my wife, so I can't return you. I will have to fight him." Now, like, I don't know, like, where this took such an insane turn. And I'm not gonna lie, this is obviously this is it makes me very uncomfortable to kind of even talk about this, and that's for like a lot of personal reasons. I'm gonna be honest. But just going through this, like the fact that it went from girl lost in woods, she finds animal or Pokemon, whatever. Pokemon says, you know, as a person, stay with me. You're too far from home. I'll walk you home. And then says, you know what? Sleep with me tonight, and then I'll get you home tomorrow. Whatever. And then she gets worried about it, and she goes, you know what? Sure, I'll honor that. I'll do that. Doesn't look at him. He double taps her head, and then she forgets everything. And then all of a sudden, days and nights pass, and she has a child, which it doesn't say specifically that anything happened. It just says that she woke up with the child, which is apparently half Typhlosion, half human. But what's weird is when he goes, "You're my wife, I can't let you go back to your father." So she's essentially been kidnapped, right? Which is pretty creepy. Yeah. So the girl pleaded, "Please don't do that. Don't kill my father. How can I live with you if you kill my family? You're a good person," which he's not. He's not even a good Pokemon. "So please stay here with me and sleep." "All right, let's stay here and sleep." The man nodded. The man. I'm gonna keep putting "man" in quotes. Yeah, exactly. It's, yeah, the man nodded. The next night, Typhlosion woke the girl and said, "Your father was close by. Please go and see." When the girl went outside, a snowstorm was raging. She climbed a low tree and broke off a branch. When she returned to the cage, the Typhlosion was singing a song she'd never heard before. "You broke off a branch, didn't you? Soon your father will come here. I'm going to do something bad to your father. If I am killed, take my eyes, my voice, and my heart. Build a fire at the spot where I was killed and burn them. And while they burn, sing this song until the fire goes out." The girl said, "Please don't do it. Don't kill my father. If anyone is to be killed, let it be you. Goodbye. We will never meet again." Okay. With those words, the Typhlosion went outside. I'm not gonna lie, like, this whole thing right here where he says, like, if I'm killed, do this, this, and this. It sounds like a classic manipulative tactic used by, and I'm like, this sounds a little, I guess, convoluted, but it's really not. Like, if for anybody who's ever been, like, in any form of an abusive relationship, when you're in a situation where you feel uncomfortable, typically what the abuser does, dude, is they say things to force an emerging sense of empathy from the person being abused. And what this does is it creates some sort of, I guess, like, at least a short-term form of attachment and empathy towards the abuser. And, like, people do this all the time. Like, anybody who knows. So this is kind of weird. One, the fact that it's from GameFreak, apparently. Like, it's leaked, unconfirmed lore, right? It's just being weird. So let me continue. With those words, the Typhlosion went outside. After a while, there was a loud noise, and when the girl looked outside, she saw her father had killed the Typhlosion. Which, okay, cool, he did. She rushed out and said to her father, "Father, you've killed my husband. I've been living with him all this time. He was my husband. Please give me my husband," the Typhlosion's eyes, voice, and heart. Okay. The girl built a fire at the place where the Typhlosion has been killed and put his eyes, voice, and heart into the flames. She sang the song the Typhlosion had taught her until the fire burned out. The girl's father built a small hut on the edge of the village for the girl and her child to live in. Eventually, spring arrived. The young men of the village often teased and tormented the girl and her child. It became worse over time, and one day, they tried to drape a Typhlosion's pelt over them. Okay. The girl returned home and pleaded with her parents. "Please tell the villagers to stop teasing us. If they put that pelt on us, we will surely become Typhlosion." Okay. We're already half Typhlosion as it is. Despite the parents' pleas, the villagers did not listen. In fact, they found it even more amusing and eventually draped the Typhlosion pelt over the girl and her child. At that moment, they howled loudly and vanished into the depths of the forest. The two were never seen again. And so, people came to understand Typhlosion are half human beings. Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. The only reason I wanted to talk about this was because like, this is so, it's so unreal, dude. I really don't know what to say other than the fact that it's been weird. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it is just so strange that we have a story directly from Game Freak where, and I know it's not official, but the fact that it was still, the fact that this was written by someone in the company, and when things like when data was stolen or it was leaked or whatever happened, when this happened, this was present enough in those company files or what have you to where this is now in the public. Like, that's weird. The fact that it was so readily available is what's so concerning to me. It's strange. Like, this whole story, you have a girl who gets lost in the woods. She's picked up by a Pokemon. The Pokemon pretends to be a human, manipulates the child. Keep in mind, a child, dude, impregnates her. They have a baby that's like half Pokemon, whatever. It's like who is it? Who was it? Was it Zeus that did this? But I don't think it. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was like it was with an adult woman. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, I think it'd be a little problematic generally, right? Now, this is why this is so weird to me. It's the fact that regardless of whether or not this was inspired by something of a similar format or a similar theme, why does it have to be a child? Okay, like I honestly do not understand the sexualization of children in media in general, or in general at all, but let alone a video game. And it's just so, I don't care what Zeus did, okay? My problem is that Pokemon is generally a game for children. Like, outright, I don't, if you like Pokemon, that's cool, okay? I used to love Pokemon. I still kind of like Pokemon. But it's generally for kids, you know? So it's just so weird to me, and it makes me genuinely uncomfortable with the fact that something like this was even remotely close to a company that makes, you know, products for children, right? It's weird, and I don't know. Like, I looked it up on YouTube earlier, right before stream, and I just looked up Typhlosion, and the only thing I got is, like, I saw a 2-minute video about, like, the history of the Typhlosion meme, and I don't know if anyone, ideally anyone who's larger will talk about it. I would hope so, because this, to me, is something that should be talked about, and it should be probably drilled home, unless it comes out that it's bullshit, and it's like, it's not actually from Game Freak, then I'll eat my words. It's just, if this is actually from Game Freak, and there's confirmation that it is from Game Freak, then it's weird, and I think there needs to be, honestly, like, I think it's almost, like, I don't know if it's enough for, like, an investigation, but I would say, like, their HR should probably get involved and start looking at people. This person, the writer, for sure, has to be fired. Bare minimum. Like, I don't care what anybody's opinion is on this. At the end of the day, dude, like, it's just weird, and I don't think in any situation should this be allowed or spoken in a way where it's not completely and utterly negative. The whole thing is cringe. It's a girl. Maybe it can be meant as a girl, as in a female human, but it's also weird, and I'm also a fan of the English translation. True, but it's a girl. And I feel like I could be wrong, but the thing is, the fact that it says girl and there's so much emphasis on the father still being a heavy protector for the girl tells me that the girl is yet to be an adult woman, right? That's where I'm coming from, because there's enough evidence in the writing that would imply otherwise, in my opinion. It's just weird, man. Yeah, they really put in the freaking Game Freak. I almost titled the stream Pokemon Freak Offs. Or Game Freak, but that's too much. That's too much. It's riding it home a little bit too much. You guys get the point. I do not condone the slightest, but Japan does have a different cultural practices that force the age of consent, which is kind of weird. Some of it could be that. It's just creepy, and I think it has the potential to be harmful for children. You know, and I think a lot of people would agree on that. You know, overall, like, things like this are problematic for children. You know, there's a reason there's so much emphasis on protecting children. And stuff like this, especially from a company that makes games that are, I would guess from a majority perspective, would be sold to children. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it because this is really concerning.